Hi, you guys. I'm Dr. Christy Wise, and I wanted to share a little bit about what I was thinking about on my run this morning. I get a lot of questions, like I said, and I appreciate very much that you guys are sending them in. And lately, it's been about how to create a relationship that can withstand anything, like the unstoppable partnership. And this doesn't have to just be romantic relationships, but today I am going to be talking about romantic partnerships. But I also have some thoughts on regular partnerships, business, and other kinds of partnerships that we experience. But again, today I'm going to talk about the 10 most important qualities to creating an unstoppable partnership. And I have an amazing download for this. So if you haven't been to the website, then I highly suggest you go to lifesauce.com. That's life-sauce.com, and you can find this handout. So okay, let's talk about it. So the first thing I want you to know is that in an unstoppable partnership, you don't have to be perfect all the time. And you hear me say this all the time. The idea is that we are trying, and you know this is don't misconstrue what I mean by trying. A try is like, meh, I tried to be faithful. Sorry. No, the try means that you really try, which is much better than doing nothing. A lot of us expect, perfection if we're going to do something, or we don't try at all. But the problem with that is in relationships, when you don't try, obviously, things just go south. And, I've seen it way too many times that people will try when things are at risk, or when they feel the relationship slipping away, or only after they've had a fight. And at that point, the try isn't nearly as impactful. So here we go. Okay, so the idea is that you are trying these, but these are the 10 most important qualities to creating an unstoppable partnership. So, and by the way, practice, practice, practice. That's the fun part, especially with sex and intimacy, right? You can't go wrong by practicing. So, number one on my list is compassion and empathy. And that's feeling it together. The ability to put yourself in your partner's shoes. It does not mean that you have to agree with what you're hearing. It doesn't mean that you have to buy into it. We can have different political views. We can have differences on what's hard work. We could talk about, what real pain is, or it doesn't matter. The point here is, for number one, that you have deep compassion for what your partner is experiencing. And, not when they get mad at you, like, you don't listen, you don't understand, or when they start turning and leaning on other people because they don't feel like you empathize or show enough compassion. And I've said this before in some of my other, little posts, that when your partner says, oh my God, I had such a hard day, compassion and empathy is not like, well, you had a hard day. I barely got sleep last night and I had to go to work. That's not what I'm referring to. The idea of empathy is really being present and putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. And it doesn't mean that what you've experienced isn't important. It just means that you're showing true compassion and empathy for your partner. Number two is compromises and acceptance. So if you have shared something that's important to you and they've shared something that's important to them, there's some kind of compromise, even if it's something silly, you guys, like what shows to watch. If they want you to watch and engage in their show, and you're not interested in that kind of a thing, that you open your mind a little bit, and that you compromise, that you guys watch a few episodes of your show, that you watch a few episodes of their show, and there's some kind of an acceptance for something that they enjoy. Not that it is like, oh, this is crap, I hate that shit. Like, No, the acceptance is that this is something that your partner is enjoying. And so letting yourself dive in and accept the fact that this is something enjoyable to them. Um, and that you compromise, that it's not always your way or the highway, or we just don't watch shows together, or, we don't go to bed together at the same time because, boy, she goes to bed really late. And right, the idea here is to compromise, even if it means that you get into bed and let her fall asleep first, which, by the way, is super romantic. Um, that's a whole other topic, but I will talk to you about that one. Number 3 is positivity. So the practice of being positive or optimistic with each other, um, it puts you in more of an active mindset. So um, not just pointing out the things that feel negative, but that, if there's some positivity, like, yay, it's Friday and tonight we're going to do something fun, not like, oh, I'm so tired. It shuts the door, right, for something wonderful for that evening if all you're doing is being negative or sounding negative. So positivity is number 3 on my list. Number 4 is intimacy, a closeness in which partners are authentically warm and concerned about the other person's feelings. So, by the way, I talk about this all the time, not saying stupid shit, because when you say stupid shit, it doesn't show intimacy. It puts a wedge in between you guys. Even if you're like, what? I'm just joking. Can't you take a joke? Come on. There's nothing that's sexy about that, and there's nothing that's bonding about that. So, not that we can't joke with each other, but we know the difference between stupid jokes and jabs and actual, humor with each other. So, intimacy is the ability to really feel and experience with your partner. That's close to empathy, but intimacy is something that bonds the two of you. Number 5 is mutual respect. And that is, again, you don't have to have the same views or opinions, but respecting what your partner is involved in, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, even if it's, that they're struggling with something at work, and that you have the respect to understand that they have to go through it in their own way. Just because you've told them in the past, I told you to fire that person, or why do you keep doing business with that person, or whatever it is, but that you're showing mutual respect for their process, for their journey. Okay, number 6 is forgiveness. We're not great with forgiveness. Actually, most people are really super stingy about forgiveness because they believe that if they forgive, then it's okaying what the person did. And it's nothing of that sort. It's forgiveness is, and I'm not saying forgetting, I'm saying forgiving, that you guys can move on. If someone was bitchy in the morning or impatient in the morning, it doesn't mean the entire day has to be all fucked up because you can't let it go. So forgiving the big things, forgiving the small things. I know forgiveness is not easy. I'm here if you need help with that, by the way. You can get a hold of me and ask me more questions about forgiveness, because I know that forgiveness is not easy. But there's nothing more damaging than holding on to a bunch of toxic shit, because you aren't willing to forgive, especially if it has everything to do with ego. You don't want to forgive because your pride or your ego was hurt in the midst of it. Okay, number 7 is total trust and honesty. So reliance on the integrity, morality, strength of character. Now, here's the problem, you guys. We seem to think that it's okay to bullshit other people or tell little white lies, or even worse, constantly deny it wasn't me, wasn't me, wasn't me, wasn't me. Those of you who know that you do this do know that it ruins trust for everything else. And then you get mad because you're like, why don't you trust me? Fine, you never believe me. Well, that's because if you're constantly denying, if you're not fully being honest about whatever it is, then why would they believe you when you really, really mean it? So integrity is really important. And if you find you're somebody who accidentally bullshits constantly, you're a salesman, you're used to bullshitting people, or, you get tired of, having to be super honest because you feel like it'll lead to conflict. Do know that breaks the connection between two people, because those little things are like poison, poisoning the water really, really slowly. So that partnership will definitely not have the same strong foundation. And so integrity is the cornerstone, right? Because we're talking about the foundation of relationships that last, have everything to do with trust. Now, doesn't mean you're not going to fuck up and tell little white lies, throughout the day or throughout the month or throughout the year or whatever it is. And if you do that, then clean it up. It means you go back and you say, God, I don't know why. I just totally denied that. I was worried you'd get pissed at me, and maybe you still will, but let me clean that up with you. I actually didn't do that, even though I told you that I did, and I'm really, really sorry. Like, own it. Have some balls and own it. And stop telling little white lies, because after a while, nobody's going to believe you, and your word means nothing. And when your word means nothing, when you have no integrity, the relationship, it's just a matter of time before you lose the relationship. So if you're a bullshitter, I say stop it. And if you can't be honest with your partner, it means you can't be honest with yourself either. So let's practice that one. Again, I can help you with that if you need my help. Commitment and matched intention. So when you say, of course I'm committed, well, it doesn't mean that you're committed unless you're annoying, or I'm committed if I'm getting great sex, or I'm committed if you're making good money, or I'm committed unless you piss me off. No, commitment means commitment, which means you're committed to whatever it is in the relationship that you promise that you're committed to. So, think about a sport or something that you're into and the great lengths that you'll go. And it doesn't have to be a sport, it could be whatever it is, but the great lengths that you'll go to follow through with that commitment. Think about your children. The minute we, have them in our arms, we know that we are committed to this little person for the rest of their life, no matter what. And we don't say, that one's annoying, or that now he's a bitchy teen, and oh, I'm out. No, we mean we're committed. So be clear about the distinctions, and that you and your partner have the same distinction, the same intention for what commitment means. Okay. That'd be like getting married, by the way, and standing at the altar and say, till death do we part, unless your ass gets big, or unless you lose all your money, or unless you can't have a great erection. We would never do something like that, right? So think about the strength of some of these promises. Number 9 is bringing out the best in your partner and inspiring growth. So here's the thing. If you are constantly taking digs, if you're constantly frustrating your partner, it does not mean that you are bringing out the best in them. If you are finding flaws in the way that they're managing their life, they're not going to share stuff with you. But if you are their cheerleader and willing to be generous enough to show how you value them, tell them how you value them, and treat them like they are your rock star, there's a good chance that you'll bring out the best in them. And when you bring out the best in someone, all they want to do is reciprocate and bring out the best in you too, right? So be careful about, how you're managing the way you impact your partner. So if you're the type of person that says, I had no idea, she's just like always so bitchy, God, all ball and chain or whatever it is, there's a good chance that you have something to do with that bitchiness, and that you're not figuring out how to bring out the best in your partner. And if you can't figure it out, ask them. They will probably gladly tell you about what brings out the best in them and what they need and what helps, and definitely what doesn't help. Okay, so if you're sending your partner spinning, quite often, if there's little, tiffs constantly, then you guys might want to sit down and talk about what it would be like to bring out the best and what you need to do and what they need to do to bring out the best in you too. Okay, and then number 10, this is the last one, protection and loyalty. So it is not just women that want to feel safe. Guys want to feel safe too. And that means safe emotionally, safe financially, safe in every aspect of life. Um, and knowing that your partner is loyal and committed to protecting you, um, and being loyal not just when they like who you're being or what you're doing, but loyal no matter what, like, that they would take a bullet for you just like you would take a bullet for them. um, and if it doesn't feel like that, then again, you should contact me because I could help you with that. But you guys may want to have some conversations about why you're not feeling safe or why you don't feel protected. And not, when I say why, I don't mean what they're doing wrong. I'm saying perhaps you're not telling them what you need to feel safe in the world and or safe in the relationship. So those are, in my mind, at least today during my run, the 10 most important qualities to creating an unstoppable partnership. And if you have any more questions or you need any more detail about it, I am here and you can contact me. I love your questions and let's keep going. Okay? Okay, bye.